Keturah, from obscurity to becoming the wife of Abraham, the father of faith. Chapter 1. Why is Sarah's death the key to understanding Keturah's role? Genesis sets the stage by first making it clear when Sarah passes away. Genesis 23 verses 1-2. Sarah lived 127 years. These were the years of the life of Sarah. So Sarah died in Kirjath Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan, and Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. This is a huge marker in the timeline. Sarah's death confirms that Abraham was still devoted to his first wife right up until her last breath. Only after this event does Scripture introduce Keturah. That sequencing matters. Keturah didn't compete with Sarah. She wasn't secretly living as Abraham's wife while Sarah was alive. Instead, she stepped into the role after Sarah's death. The narrative order makes that point unmissable. Chapter 2. So when did Keturah actually become Abraham's wife? The Bible answers it plainly. Genesis 25 verse 1. Abraham again took a wife, and her name was Keturah. Notice the phrasing, again took a wife. The word again directly follows the account of Sarah's death. This isn't casual dating language, it's covenant language. Abraham was widowed, and then he remarried. This shows Keturah came into the picture later in Abraham's life, not in some hidden arrangement while Sarah was still alive. She became his wife after he had already lived through decades of covenant life with Sarah. Chapter 3. Was Keturah just a concubine, or did she become more? In the culture of that time, there was a real difference between being a wife and being a concubine. Concubines had a recognized but lower status in the household, and their children didn't have the same inheritance rights as the primary wife's children. That's why Genesis records this distinction. Genesis 25 verses 5-6. And Abraham gave all that he had to Isaac. But Abraham gave gifts to the sons of the concubines which Abraham had. And while he was still living, he sent them eastward away from Isaac, his son, to the country of the east. Here's the takeaway. Isaac, son of Sarah, remained the covenant heir. The sons of the concubines, including Keturah's children, received gifts and were sent eastward. The plural word concubines shows Keturah wasn't the only one in this category at some point. It's very likely Keturah started as a concubine and was later elevated to wife after Sarah's passing, because there was no longer a need to protect Sarah's unique position in Abraham's household. Chapter 4. Was Keturah actually Hagar, or a completely different person? Genesis 25 verses 8-9. Then Abraham breathed his last and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah. Notice who's at the burial, Isaac and Ishmael. Keturah's sons are nowhere in that scene because they had been sent east. Ishmael, Hagar's son, stayed in the picture. Keturah's sons had a different destiny, and Genesis already made it clear that Hagar was the one who bore Ishmael. So the logic stacks up like this. 1. Ishmael was born to Sarah's maid Hagar, Genesis 16 verses 15-16. 2. Sarah dies, leaving Abraham a widower, Genesis 23 verses 1-2. 3. Abraham marries Keturah, Genesis 25 verse 1. 4. Keturah's children, as concubine born, are given gifts and sent away, Genesis 25 verse 6. 5. At Abraham's burial, Ishmael and Isaac are present, not Keturah's sons, Genesis 25 verses 8-9, which means Keturah was not Hagar. She was altogether a different woman who became Abraham's wife after Sarah's death, and whose sons played a role in God's bigger promise of Abraham becoming the father of many nations. Well, what's the moral? The moral is you don't have to chase another woman's husband. If it's in God's will, he may become yours at some point in the future. Unlike with Hagar, there is not the slightest hint that Keturah competed with Sarah. But after Sarah died and the days of mourning were over, Abraham married Keturah. Okay, so I hope this video shed at least a little light into Keturah's life, how she went from a place of obscurity to the wife of Abraham, the father of faith. Now, smash that like and crush that subscribe. We out.